what comforted me was my husband held my hand and said, we will get through this. We will get through this. Whatever it is, we'll get through this. Now, what's my point?
Good day, everyone. Today in the house we have a guest, and she's someone that will classify as a coach before all these weird internet gurus became a thing. She did her runs, my friend, learning from some of the best around the world, being certified by the likes of John C. Maxwell, and serves in many international associations across the world, in Hong Kong, Australia, Singapore, to name a few. Her curriculum has recently been adopted by the Shunte Provincial Mayor, which is the part of Guangzhou that Ip Man came from. And she will be working closely with the founder and CEO community to assist them with leveling up their leadership and people relationships. But before all these exciting new things, she started out coaching couples in their relationship. So today we are going to be hearing from someone that has lived in many parts of the world, and someone that I believe has lots to share about our theme this month, relationship and money. So let us welcome Miss Marie Ang.
Wow. Thank you, Reggie. Thank you so much for such a nice intro. Wow. So we're going to talk about money, huh? Are you marrying up or are you marrying down? So that's my question to you, Reggie. So basically, when it comes to money, I equate money to almost like a topic of intimacy, like sex.
Okay,
So for example, sex is very intimate between two people, okay?
Yeah.
So, and obviously when it comes to money, the more you share, the more intimate you become. Would you say that?
Definitely,
Right. So,
yes.
so basically when it comes to money, it is always a very contentious issue. Let's face it. Okay. So people are not quarreling over the lack of money. They are quarreling over the insecurity. And in that sense, right, the emotional attachment to money. Now, what does that mean? Basically, the more money you have, the more you spend or the more you keep. Right. And you can see some of the richest people in the world, it's not because they keep a lot of money, it's because the way they invest the money, the way they spend the money, and the way they have emotional intelligence over their money.
So for someone like yourself that has coached many different people, many different
Yes.
couples, right? Maybe share with us some common things that, are a challenge for these couples when they first start.
Sure.
Right? Because I think the common understanding is when you're alone, you manage
Yes.
your money in a certain way, right?
Yep.
And then now you get into a formal relationship. You sign
Yes.
paper, everything MOM,
Yeah.
waiting for HDB.
Yes.
So what are some of the common challenges that these couples face?
Okay, so basically there are three things. There are three challenges. Number one, obviously when you start earning your own income, so everything belongs to you. So in a sense, you kind of like hold it very dear to yourself, kind of. So you may not share it. Right. Number two is that once you come together, right, you have to make a decision whether you want to joint account or still separate accounts. Okay, which is another issue of contention. Okay. The third thing is like, what happens if one of you, right, has no job? Say in terms of redundancy or pregnancy. And now a lot of couples, they think that, we get together, love conquers all. No, sorry, love don't conquers all. There are issues that you need to deal with, and
Yes.
suddenly no longer love.
Yes,
It's more like,
yes.
I really hate you, kind of thing. So we've seen quite a lot of this stuff. What you need to consider is, if you're single right now, what's your income?
Okay.
Basically. And if it's your income, right, fantastic. Do you have savings plan?
Okay.
And how do you kind of like separate expenditure to savings? Now, we're not talking about profit and loss here. We're not talking about, CFO material. You are talking about your own individual, right? Now, are you spending, because you need it or you want it?
Fair.
Right.
Fair.
So many people are spending because they want it now. So, and also another thing that you need to consider is, are you spending to show off? Or are you spending to say, look, I want to treat people. There's a self-serving and there's also serving others.
Fair.
What does that mean? What it means is this. If you're spending for others, meaning that you like to buy treats for people, and things like that. So let me just tell you a story. With each point, I'll tell you a story. Is that okay with you, Reggie?
Good
Right.
stuff.
So basically, when my husband and I used to travel quite a lot, and we used to buy stuff from every country, right? Thinking that, when we look at it, it'll bring back memories. So we moved, 7 times internationally and nationally. And oh my gosh, when you open a cupboard, it's like this avalanche of stuff came falling out. And it's like, now, where is this from? Oh, from Hawaii. And so what? So eventually we thought, it's such a waste of money. On top of that, we also don't have the place to put. How many things can you display in your house?
Yeah, especially when you shift a lot, right?
Yes,
It's
exactly right.
Crazy.
So a little dollar there, $10 there, and so it adds up to thousands of dollars unknowingly kind of thing. So what is our solution is to stop buying. Rather, we just go there, enjoy the experience, take some photos, that you can remember. And then on top of that, you enjoy the food there, the culture there. Okay, so that's number one. So the want bit and the need bit, you need to decipher that, okay?
Yes.
Number two, when you go into a relationship now, this is another thing. Are you going to have joint account? Now, obviously, you met a girl for the first time or met a guy for the first time. You're not going to have a joint account straight away kind of thing. Okay. Actually, money is also a kind of test between the relationship.
Yeah, I'm sure,
Yes.
personal experience at home, I grew up in a family where money is always an issue, and
Yes.
more importantly, money drives a lot of arguments.
Yes.
A lot of the
Obviously.
dissonance, because different people want to do it differently, right? So
Correct,
when my
correct.
parents argue, then it affects me,
Yes,
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Obviously. So in a relationship now, let's just talk about two relationships here. A relationship with a boyfriend, girlfriend, boyfriend or a girlfriend, and relationship in the family. Now, what do I mean? When it comes to money, right? Do you actually support your parents? Do you support the livelihood of the family dynamics?
Okay.
And then when you have a new relationship, does he or she need to do the same thing?
Okay.
Now your $1 is split into three ways, because now it's a family, both families, and then in the relationship.
Fair.
Now, how do you split those two up? You have to understand, you earn, let's say, for example, $5,000. You obviously are not going to say, oh, everybody get a cut of 30%, and so on and so forth. You have to decide how much you contribute and then put it into the dynamics of the family and into the relationship. And then when you're with a girlfriend or boyfriend, right, you need to understand, do you want to impress them at first and start spending a lot of money, which then eats into the budget? Now, do you have a budget in that respect? This budget is very important, because when I first got married to my husband, we're both earning very high income. So we spend money like water, literally. And so at the end of the day, we're like, what the, how come we don't have money left over?
Although we are such high earners,
yes,
right?
Yes. And then we look back at we're charging here, we're charging there, with the intent that, well, the salary will cover it.
So it's a lot of, because there's a comfort in that high income, and then you
Correct.
don't really track your expenses, right?
Correct.
You just here spend, there spend.
Exactly. So if you earn $5,000, you spend $6,000. So you're already in arrears by $1,000,
Yes,
and then
yes.
it starts accumulating.
Yes.
Now, so you must have that budget. The budget will then help you to look at, okay, how much money you need to put aside for your parents' support, or maybe your transportation, your food, and then when it comes to the relationship, right, it's at this point in time, it's not a committed relationship. It's just coming together kind of thing.
Okay.
But how much are you going to spend, like going out with your girlfriend or your boyfriend? How much are you going to spend for anniversary? Everybody celebrate anniversary even though they're not married yet. It's quite cute,
yes. So when you talk about committed, right,
Yes.
the difference is marriage, pre-marriage and post-marriage, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But let me digress a little bit,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Many people say committed. Now, are you prepared to spend the rest of your life with this person? That is another topic for another
That
day.
is a huge topic, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
correct. So if you are, and you think that, okay, you're going to marry this person, and going to spend the rest of your life with, now that is another thing that we have to talk about. What are some of the criteria? But, wait till Reggie come out with that topic first. But let's talk about money for now.
Yes.
Yes, so you have to understand, how much do you give? Now, generally in a lot of courtship, right, we notice this. We tend to buy a lot of things for the other party.
Yes, gifting, right? It's
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
thing.
So you say, wow, I buy you this bag, or I buy you,
Mm-hmm.
I'm in love with this person, so I spend more on food, or I bring him or her to a nice place,
Yes.
so on and so forth. Now, is that rational? Can you keep this going?
Yeah. It feels like you're just wearing a bigger hat, right? That you
Correct,
cannot
correct.
handle this.
Correct. So are you in a relationship for the relationship itself, or are you in a relationship to buy the relationship?
To impress the other party.
And to
essentially,
impress,
right?
correct. Does that make sense to you? If that's not, it's okay, because when I said that, a lot of people look at me like they have this, white-eye bushy tail look, kind of thing. But what basically it means is that, are you buying things so that the person will be committed to this relationship?
Yes,
Now you have to
yes.
consider this very carefully. Okay. So in a committed relationship, generally, right, you tend to want to test waters first. I mean, before you commit to relationship, you test the waters first. Now, if you bring somebody shopping and the first thing the person point out is a $10,000 Gucci bag, now you obviously know that, oh my gosh,
Alarm bells, ding, ding, ding.
yeah, and so have to be very careful with that. So make sure you budget out properly for both. And then after that, on top of that, if you are going to go into this relationship, you need a budget for weddings. You need a budget for pregnancy. You need a budget for PTO.
Yeah.
For buying whether second hand or first hand, and a car if you need, all these things. So people don't talk about that generally.
Yes, exactly. So
Yeah.
I think we all can agree that the basis of common ground is actually common discussion first.
Yes.
Right. So the open, safe discussion where we talk about all these different elements, right?
Yes.
What kind of advice do you have for like new couples? Because most people when they first start, they don't talk about money first.
Correct.
It's always have fun, right? Here makan, then there watch movie.
Yes.
And then after that, when they kind of feel that things are gonna get serious, or we're
Yes.
gonna like consider co-living.
Yes.
Sharing a space first before, actually signing marriage and BTO, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Then people start to have that generally difficult conversation around money,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
what kind of advice do you have for new couples to embark on this conversation?
Okay.
Yeah.
So as with real estate language is, location, location, location. Now with relationship is communicate. Yeah. So what does that mean? Sometimes you need to have that real talk, meaning that you need to sit down, and once both of you are saying, look, I'm committed, I want to bring the relationship from courting to engagement to marriage, right? You seriously need to sit down and, number one, again, do a budget. Okay, why is this budget important? Because it gives you an overview of how much you can afford
Okay.
on both sides.
There are some realities, right?
Yeah, correct. So you would say, like Christian will say, God provides. Yes, God will provide, but you still need to put the work in, kind of thing, But you also need to say, like, okay, now what happens if something happens?
Yeah.
Okay, so I won't go into that for now. So budget is one thing, and you need to communicate also with each other. Do you plan to buy a flat? Do you plan to stay with your in-laws? Now I have couples that say, let's save some money and stay with the in-laws first, no problem. Which side? Stay in the girl's side or the boy's side? Then you need to really like
all these
communicate
are
again.
that kind of conversation, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
So money is just one little thing in the relationship.
Yeah.
There are a lot of other things to consider about. Okay. Number 3 is that what happens if you decide to have children?
Yes.
How many children do you want? 1, 2, 3? And during that period, your wife will obviously by that time may not have an income, or she may quit, or she may go on maternity leave. How long is a maternity leave? How long is she going to take time off? Or is she going to quit her job to look after the children full time? This you need to consider. Right now, when I say it sounds very simple, but I will tell you when it comes to it, there will be a lot of fire going around.
Yes. So, you talk about all these different elements of finance that
Yes.
as a couple we need to talk about.
Correct.
But can you share with us a little bit more about, what are some of the relationship aspects, when we are trying to have this conversation, being a good converser, right?
Yes.
Someone that is a good conversationalist, someone that is good at conversing.
Okay.
There are some basic elements,
Sure.
right? Especially to talk about these kind of stuff. What
Sure.
are some of these elements that you can give us some advice on, how to be, someone that is very capable of discussing this kind of topics?
Okay, so obviously, we need to have expectations. We need to make aware of each other's expectation. Be mindful not to be emotional about things. Now, I will tell you as a woman, right? We let's use the first case where, like, after you married, you want to stay with the in-laws to save some money first. Let's say, okay. And then generally, I say generally, that the girl will say, I stay with my parents because, I'm the daughter, thing. Now, would you, as the husband, be prepared to do that? Now, if you do, then you set boundaries around it.
Okay.
Okay, meaning that, okay, this is our room. No one is intrude into our room kind of thing,
Okay.
right? And if there are any issues with the in-laws, for example, if you're staying with your wife's parents, if there are issues with the wife's parents, you as a husband do not go and quarrel with the wife's parents, because you're not quarreling with two people, you're quarreling with the whole tribe.
Because you're actually staying at their place now, right?
Correct.
So
correct.
okay.
Yeah. So, and then another thing that you need to be made aware of is how long are you going to stay there for? Right? Because unfortunately, people get comfortable in an uncomfortable situation too.
Yeah.
So you need to talk to your wife. Let's say we're talking about you living with your wife's parents now, right? You need to say, how long are we going to stay there for? How much are we going to save? That's why the budget thing comes into place. How much do you need to save, to set aside, so that you can either A, apply for BTO, or B, get another place?
Cool.
Yeah.
So essentially there are three elements, right? We don't want to be too emotional. That's the
Yes.
first thing, right? Number two is we need clear boundaries in
Yes.
whatever that we do together,
Yes.
right? Especially when you stay in your in-laws' place.
Correct.
you
correct.
need very clear, right? Tell your in-laws, everyone, you know. And the third one is to have a plan to go
Yes.
ahead forward
Correct.
together.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, and then communicate with each other what your plans are. Don't be so secretive about it, you know. Like, I want to surprise her with a 4-bedroom and she might hate the place or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
we do have couples like that, surprisingly. Okay, so it's like big major things you need to have discussion. Yeah, so try not to say like, oh, she doesn't need to know, or he doesn't need to know. This is a big no at all. Okay, and then the both of you need to go and see a financial planner in terms of like, how do you save some money, or the maybe the gap that's required to get you off to a new place.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, so case in point, my husband and I, right? I'll tell you this: we've been married for 26 years, together for 37 years, together since 17 years old.
Wow, it was the first one?
Yes.
All the way?
yeah,
Wow,
all the way
okay.
through.
That is very cool.
We went through a lot, and I tell you, a lot. I meant a lot. So recently, we are looking at getting a place of our own.
That's nice.
Right. So a HDB, you know, resale one, and so on and so forth. And we think in our head, right, when we went to Google to research, right, you go, oh, how much does a flat cost? You know, is it 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom? You know, where the location is, so on and so forth, right? But never did we know that there were things like, you know, grants. There were things that, you know, the gap, that we didn't know that the gap, meaning that, you know, the deposit we need to put in if our CPF is not sufficient,
Yes,
you know, and so on and so
yes.
forth. And when we actually went to speak to a proper real estate agent / CPF expert, right,
Yes.
she basically told us that some of the things we can do, some of the things we can't do. So as a result of that, right, we say, oh, now we have a gap of so much money that we need to save. And so how much time do we need to save this money? Yeah.
So after having the conversation, you definitely recommend to seek professional help, right?
Correct,
Depending on
correct.
what vertical you're trying to
Correct.
achieve, whether is it retirement together or whether is it like getting
Yes.
a house together, always seek professional help.
Yes. And I also want to tell you that, you know, if despite our long-term relationship, that in front of this person, right, this real estate agent / CPF financial planner, right, I actually argue with my husband. Okay, because he was saying like, you know, we need so many square foot, so wide a square foot, and I'm like, no, I don't need this, or I need this room to have ensuite. So there you go. It's not just a matter of money; it's also the expectations as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So you both need to. The word is compromise, but I tend not to use the word compromise because compromise, somebody got to lose something lah. Basically.
Yeah, there's always this idea that when you compromise, you're actually giving up something.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So my suggestion is to say, okay, can both of us come together and agree that, you know, I can have a bit of me in that house and I can have a bit of him in that house, in a sense.
What people would call common ground these
yes,
days, right?
yes. So this is one thought lah. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And you know, in our pre-interview discussion, right,
Yeah.
we talk quite a bit about how money is not actually the issue,
Yes.
right? I mean, like just now we were going through all these pointers, which are great pointers, but you realize that ultimately there's a lot of more emotional elements
Yes,
around it, right? And
absolutely.
you yourself have told me time and time again that, it's not about the money, it's about the relationship and the emotional attachment to money,
Correct.
that it's very, very challenging to work with, So can you share with us a little bit more about all these kind of emotional attachment? How does that work?
Okay, so personally, if you say that I have zero emotions attached to money, that's a lie. Everybody will have emotional attachment to the money.
Yes.
But your emotions will be even, it will raise even higher when you have lack of money. Put it this way.
Fair.
For example, we have couples that, either the husband made redundant and decide to go into business for himself.
Okay.
And then the wife is working.
Okay.
Example. So there was no timeline of to whether this business will take off or when he is going to get a next job. Okay, so I'm just using this for the husband scenario. Okay, so the wife is working like crazy kind of thing. But the more she worked, at first she was very supportive of him.
Yes.
They say, oh yeah, okay honey, let's go and try, you make a good entrepreneur, this is another topic that we'll talk about later on.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurship is not sexy, okay? It's extremely hard. It's like, oh my gosh, it's it's just very difficult. And so the husband, off he goes and do his own thing, register business off, so on and so forth. But then as time goes on, right, suddenly their savings are depleted because you need to keep pumping money into the business.
Yes, you gotta upkeep all these things, right? Yes.
Correct. So what happened was that, the wife started getting more and more resentful.
Because expectations and reality start to
Correct.
set the difference, right?
Correct. Now, if you say there's no emotional attachment, no, because from, let's say, when husband and wife were working and they earn, say, between them $7,000, right? So once the husband lost his or his job, right, it goes down to, say, $3,500 lah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lifestyle changes.
Yes. Cannot afford to eat anymore, to go out to
Yes.
eat more.
Yes.
Gone were the days when you can eat 螃蟹大大, big crab and jumbo. Now you say, no, let's go kopitiam, eat the 68-gram one, So it's like there's this resentment that keeps building. You can say, well, wife need to be supportive. Yeah, I agree. I agree that a wife need to be supportive. However, as women, now I speak from the perspective of a woman, we want to be secure. We want to feel secure. We don't want to be like, say we work and then there is this little naggy feeling that when will we be the next to lose our job? And if we lose our job, will we lose our home? And if we lose our home, what happened to our kids? What happened to the school fees and so on and so forth?
Fair.
Right. So there is this emotional thing that's happening, this the roller coaster thing. So what do you need to do? So the solution is this: you need to give yourself timeline.
Okay. Again, a clear timeline.
Yes,
a clear
that's right.
plan.
So if a husband is made redundant, for example, or want to go into the business now, be clear. Let's start with the redundancy first. Okay, the scenario of redundancy. How long are you going to keep looking for a job for? Are you actively seeking a job? Are you actively out there networking with people to give you opportunity to provide you a job kind of thing? 3 years, 5 years, so you must have that timeline, because when the time comes, right, that the time is getting closer, you won't be nonchalant about it.
Fair.
You won't say, oh yeah, wake up next day, I still got time, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the wife can see that you are actually doing something, so she doesn't feel like this is an endless pit.
So that provides her that kind of security and affirmation that actually the plan is being met.
Correct.
Like we are not just going in a cycle and hoping things work.
Exactly. So now let's go to the entrepreneur part of things. It's the same. Now with the husband, right? Obviously, when you go into entrepreneurship, you need to know what you're going into. Okay, it doesn't mean you register a business, you start, let's say, a training company, you're an entrepreneur. No, it's not like that. Okay. I personally am an entrepreneur. My company has been in existence for 4 years now, going to 5 years. We only just started making a profit now, 4 years on. Okay, so can you imagine that the last 4 years prior to that, right? I'm the person who started this business. My husband is like, oh well, is it happening kind of thing, right? So it is happening, but oh my goodness, you deplete your savings.
Yeah.
And when you deplete your savings, then what?
Yeah.
How are you going to replace it?
Yes,
down the track?
definitely.
So again, you need to have clear guidelines and timelines. It's okay, I'm going to go into this business for X number of years. All right. I'm going to actively again network. I'm going to actively look for business. I'm going to actively this and that and so on and so forth. Right. But don't go blindly into it. Entrepreneurship is not blind. Just put your big toe into the water and see whether it works or not. It does not. Okay, this is your life we're talking about. And don't tell me about passion.
Yeah.
Because passion lasts a distance, but conviction lasts a lifetime.
Impact line. Dung.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is this: your passion. Can you be passionate when money is not there anymore? Can you be passionate when your co-founder or whoever is supposed to support you bail out? Will you still be passionate about what you're doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And then on top of that, right, your conviction means come hellfire, high water, you continue to do whatever it takes.
And that is the challenge of being an entrepreneur, right?
Correct.
And then that challenge would actually somehow be another challenge for the spouse of an entrepreneur.
Exactly.
Right, you gotta bring all these challenges back, and while
Correct.
you're doing your fight, your spouse have to, kind of defend the fort,
Yes.
and still make the family work.
Correct.
Right, and then you definitely will have, those kind of bedside conversation, very
Yes.
challenging, very emotional.
Correct.
You want to share some experiences that you have? What kind of some of these challenging conversations?
Okay, so we have I have a couple that came up, and the truth of the matter is that actually money brings it brings people to emotional high and lows
Okay.
a lot more than other things generally, because a lot of things can be solved by money, right?
Yeah.
Including like people say you can't replace money with health kind of thing, or you can't replace health with money. I can't get. But let's put it this way: if you have money, you get good vitamins and so
treatment,
all
good
these
stuff,
things, right?
okay.
Correct. So yes, health is important, but you need the source to
Yes.
supplement
As
that.
long as we
Yeah.
live in a capitalistic world, right?
Correct.
Money is the center of the talk.
Correct.
Okay.
So in this case, we have a couple that came, and then it raised quite a lot of baggage from the past, because the girl, the wife, came from a poor family, and they worked very, very hard to become middle class. Let's
Okay.
say, so they live in a nice terrace house and good income and so on and so forth, and. The husband came from also not too bad background, so the two of them come together and things. So all is very nice, rosy when everything is
when
working
things
out
are
well.
beautiful,
Yes,
right?
correct.
Yes.
So one day the husband got made redundant from his job, high-paying job, I think. So he decided to go into business for himself. And so initially the wife was saying like, oh, it's okay, if worst case we will just make do. Now, what does make do means? Okay.
Not clear.
Not clear. So then the husband said, okay, no problem. Since my wife is supporting me, so this 1 year, 5 years on, the business did not pick up.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
So by that time, the wife is getting fed up, because I said there was no guideline, there was no timeline. So basically it's saying like, you need to support me. So the conversation goes from like, honey, how is it going with your business? Oh, it's coming along. It's coming along. Again, what does coming along means? But what the wife is saying is there's no results. There's
Yes.
no, contracts. There's no nothing. So there's a little bit pockets of ad hoc activities here and
Yes.
there. I think.
Yes.
And then it went from, honey, how's it going to, I think you should quit your business and get a job.
Yeah.
Okay, because we have bills to pay, and so on and so forth. I have to call on my parents. Oh my gosh, when the minute you say call my parents, what does that mean?
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, so that
in-laws are
becomes
in the picture.
exactly. And then the parents are, on the other hand, the wife's parents don't see what's happening with the couple. You see, all they say, oh yeah, he's going into a business, good for him, kind of thing. Oh, she's still got a job, good for her. But what if she start approaching the parents and say, well, we're in dire straits, we need some money from you?
Yeah.
How would that impact on the manhood of the husband?
Fair. Right? I think
Right?
men these days still have this kind of idea that you got to take care of the
Correct.
house.
I'm the sole
Right,
breadwinner.
yeah.
kind of thing.
Although I feel that there is a movement towards equality,
Of
right?
course,
There's
of
more and more
course.
women taking up the grant, and everyone is like a shared, equal way of managing the household,
So
right?
this is still quite traditional
Yeah,
lah for
yeah,
this
yeah.
kind of thing. And then it went from, honey, how's it going to, look, you need to get a job too. Like, I think you should just, kind of like stop it and just go along. Just quit. Just quit your whatever you're doing right now. Okay, I'm fed up. Okay, and eventually, you know what happened to them? They split up.
Oh wow, that is like the ultimatum, right?
Correct.
Like,
Yes. So you can see that if you talk about financial emotions, right? I mean, emotional attachment, this is what happens.
yeah.
You need to be so careful that, a lot of thought process need to go inside it. Yeah.
So when these kind of things happen, right? It's sometimes it's very tough to straddle between being supportive and being critical as a
Yes.
spouse, right?
Correct,
It's like
correct.
you want to support your husband, you want to support your
Yes,
wife
yes.
to chase their dreams, because you also hope that they would support you to chase your dreams, right? And then when there's all these financial realities that come in, right? What would be the dining table advice?
Okay.
How do we make dining table conversations, right,
Okay.
impactful to this kind of support, but at the same time push them to check reality, things are going, and you still have a family. Don't forget, you're no longer individual.
Yes.
We got to do this together.
Okay.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, I always say this, right? You can plan for the future, but you can't predict the future. However, you can prepare for it.
Fair.
Okay. So don't have when you're in a committed relationship, right? And or you start out as a newlyweds lah. Okay, is to make sure that you make provision for rainy days.
Okay.
Now you don't wait until rain, then you can look for umbrellas. Right. So generally people will say, financial gurus will say, look, put aside 3 months salary kind of thing, right? For any ad hoc, like for example, this coronavirus thing that hit a lot of people.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So same case, expect the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah. But set aside some money and then make plans that, when something happens, you're ready to you can activate that kind of thing. So I'll give you one solution. Solution number 1 is this. When both of you are earning good income, right, you have 3 boxes. Now,
Okay.
I'm talking about 3 physical boxes or 3 accounts.
Okay. Bank
Okay,
accounts.
account number 1 is this. Joint account. Now, every time you get paid, right, you put aside 10% of your salary.
Okay. Fair.
Okay, so if you're earning 5,000, you put aside $500.
Mm.
Now, this before you pay your bills.
Fair.
Okay. Now, why I said that is this because after you pay your bills, and nothing left, then you have to save, then left 5 cents. No, that's not saving.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So you set aside that. Okay. So 10%, both from your husband and the wife. So you set aside. Now you cannot touch that money
Okay.
at all.
Okay.
Now buying a Gucci bag or buying a car is not emergency.
Okay. So that is emergency funds.
Yes, emergency.
Okay,
Okay. So this is the thing, right? Box number 2 or account number 2 is where you pay your bills. So in a sense, like your mortgage,
Yeah.
or, so
Your
you set
PUB,
aside
all
that.
those
Yeah.
kind of
So
stuff.
how much is 20-30% of your income kind of thing?
Fair.
Right. Yeah. Then the third box is your individual box. Now, why I say this, right? Your individual box could be like 10% of your whatever balance kind of thing, or you can give yourself allowance.
Okay. So
per
that you can
month.
do whatever you want.
Correct. So imagine like you're gonna buy your wife an anniversary present, but it comes from a joint account.
Not cool.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. So kind of like have that conversation and say, how much do we give ourselves allowance? Now, don't be ridiculous and say, I'll give myself 5,000 allowance kind of
Yeah,
thing. What
yeah.
is it? 500 a month, or is it 200? Is it 100? Up to you. You need to discuss that with each other.
Yeah.
Now, when I first started with my husband on this 3 boxes thing, we actually give ourselves, first time we did, the first allowance was $100 a month. And then because my husband got $100, so he spent the whole $100 for the whole month. Then he got nothing. He spent it within 2 days, by the way. So he got 28 days that he has got no money to spend. And it was, like he said, it was the toughest thing ever. Now, what is the lesson behind this? Is gratification, instant gratification or delayed gratification.
Mm.
Right. If you master this gratification, you master your emotion over money.
Very cool. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Makes sense. That's
Yeah.
why people invest. That's why people save
Correct.
for the longer term future, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we got to a point where like we actually have $100 each beginning of the month, right? And we can walk into a shopping center and still count $100 without spending a single cent.
So that is like a habit cultivation process.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah. You guys commit to each other in
Yes.
this way of managing money.
Yes.
And it sounds like, you encourage a mixed management strategy. There's always this discussion: do we manage individually or do we manage, as a couple, everything
Yes.
together?
Correct.
So like some people, they will have, like what you say, like a joint fund, and
Yes.
then they do everything from there. Some people will be like, oh, you pay the housing, I pay the PUB.
Yes.
That kind of strategy. So
Correct.
you are leaning more towards the joint kind of
Yes.
strategy, right?
I mean, commitment is 100% for each person.
Yes.
It's not 50-50.
Yes.
Right.
yes.
Now, okay, so I digress a little bit on the financial part, right? If you're in a committed relationship, be it 100%, why say, 20-30%, see how it goes? Now, there's no such thing as see how it goes in a relationship. You're in or you're out.
Okay.
Okay, if you're in, you do it with all about you and her or him. Yeah, so don't have small percentage here that we don't know. We don't know the future. Then work on it, because problems will come and it's guaranteed.
Yes, and that probably is a sign of insecurity, right?
Correct.
Because you're not sure, you don't know where you want to go, so then
Yes.
you have this reservation, but
Correct.
directly, indirectly, it's not helpful.
No, exactly. So
Yeah.
this is the table conversation. So you plan that, to have that, and not be disturbed in a sense by people saying this and that. You got to be comfortable with your each other's so-called plans. Right? Don't go and seek advice from people who don't know anything.
Yeah.
Or may not know your situation.
Fair. So
Yeah.
then, what kind of advice or what kind of advices will you get all these couples to seek for? Yourself? Can they call you up?
Of course, welcome. And
Yeah.
as said, we are focused on the family mentors as well for marriage. So whether you're preparing to get married or already in a marriage, right? I would advise this. It doesn't matter what state your marriage is, kind of thing. You always seek counsel and you always seek coaching. Now, the reason being is like there's no such thing as a perfect marriage, but there is such thing as happily ever after.
What does happily ever after mean for
Happily
you?
ever
Yes.
after means that you guys are not fighting to the point where like you're throwing things at each other, kind of thing. That you are secure in your relationship.
No K-drama.
Yeah, no K-drama. Yeah, and you're secure with each other. That it doesn't matter what the situation is. The both of you stand steadfast and not fighting with each other.
Good.
Yeah, so you're not, you don't have infighting lah, basically. So generally in a lot of relationships, right, is that when things get very hot outside of them, instead of coming together to fight the heat, right, they fight each other.
Okay. So then, essentially, that partnership and that support breakdown will become outright
Correct.
enemies, right?
Correct.
Then there's no salvation point already.
Exactly. And then caution also, if you have children, they're watching what you do.
Yes, I
So
get
they
it.
don't
Yeah.
they may not necessarily understand the whole emotional thing or the relationship dynamics, but they watch how daddy talk to mommy and mommy scold daddy or throw things or whatever. They watch it, and what they do is they actually pick up the same habits. So if you talk about financial intelligence and emotions, right, this is a good cultivation for them from young to say like, daddy, mommy give you pocket money, how much do you save, how do you save?
Yes.
You
You got to lead by example, right? Essentially.
Yes.
Right. Make that a dining table conversation. I always tell
Correct.
people, like we don't have enough conversation about
Yes.
money.
Yes.
Right? Money is like this sacred thing. People don't talk about. We don't talk about how much we are paid. We don't talk about how
Correct.
much insurance we have. We don't talk about savings. We don't talk about
Exactly.
investments. And to me, if we continue to keep money a taboo topic, right, we will not make
Correct.
progress.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And in this generation where, I would say many of us are a sandwich generation these days, because
Yes.
the older generation, like maybe those that are like in the 60s, 70s, they grew up in an era where Singapore was relatively poor, right? So even no matter how well they excel, they will be like, You know, there were many amazing individuals working at the port, doing machinery and all those, but slowly after they phased out, right?
Yes.
And their income was never what was needed for today's lifestyle. So many of them are reliant on today's couples.
Exactly.
Right? Like
exactly.
parents of today, people in their 40s, 50s, 30s.
Yes.
You know, they are all stuck in this sandwich. You know, what are some of your thoughts about sandwich generation? How do
Okay.
we do this?
So personally, I have older parents.
Yes.
I personally don't have children, but I do
Okay.
have adopted children in the sense that, you know, my godchildren are my brother's kids.
Yes,
lah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And age between 8 and 16. So two of them.
Okay.
Yeah. So I find that, for example, you know, yeah, they may not be my kids, but I feel,
feel
for
for them,
them.
right? Yes.
I actually feel for them. So like when my parents, some of the provisions you need to make, right, for young couples is while you're still young, your parents are young.
Yes, that's true.
Okay. So meaning
Yeah.
that if you're in your 20s or 30s, your parents may be 50s or 60s.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, I would encourage you to go and get insurance.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not an
You don't
insurance
sell
agent.
insurance,
Yeah,
yes, I
yeah.
know,
I'm just
I know.
saying that, you know, this was exposed to me.
Fair.
You
fair.
know, because when it comes to the part where when they get older, right, and you yourself included, right, you don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I was looking after my parents, so my mom passed away 2 years ago now. So and it cost $40,000 to look after the last 2 years of her life.
Wow, that is
Yeah.
significant.
So
Yes.
if not for the fact that she was a pioneer generation, which thank God that, you know, there's this pioneer scheme, right? So we don't fork out a lot, but it's still in the thousands of dollars.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
no joke.
So
right.
the insurance that we prepare, right, help to actually kind of
defray some of these
defray some
costs.
of the costs, and also, you know, don't forget that all these things are also affecting your marriage, your
Yes,
relationship
yes.
as well, kind of thing,
Yes.
you know. And then the other thing is that for children, right, it's the same. Take out insurance for them too. You know, if there are things you cannot do for yourself, get somebody who can help you to do.
Yes. So you believe in long-term planning. You
Yes.
believe in preparing early, right?
Yeah.
So if let's say we're a couple, right, and we just got married, right, and at what stage should we then talk about like supporting our parents? Should it be like before marriage, or, you know, at that point in time people are not very interested to talk about supporting parents, right? They're talking about their house, building their own dream.
Yes.
You know, and I think a lot of my friends have these conversations at this point in time because we are like late 20s, early 30s, income is stable, and then family is aging, and everyone's discussing like when should we start supporting the family,
Okay.
you know, and what are your thoughts, you know?
Well, it's a topic very close to my heart, to be very honest with you. And I'm quite somber about it because I felt that, you know, supporting your parents should not be when you grow up kind of thing. You should be supporting your parents, whether it's financially, emotionally, mentally, you know, and even physically, in that sense, like, you know, visiting them while you're pursuing your dream. Now, again, you know, I throw a caveat on that dream word. Okay,
Fair.
Are you going into a dream of knowing where you're going, or are you into a nightmare?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yes.
so the truth of the matter is like, whether do you set aside some money, take out insurance for them, or, you know, all this will be up to you individually first before the commitment. And then when you're committed, or, you know, in a engaged or marriage kind of thing, you need to be open about what you're doing for your parents.
Okay.
Yeah, support doesn't mean, oh well, I just go and see them and, you know, I'm done supporting. This was my case many years ago because I was living overseas with my husband for 27 years, and every time I fly in and out of Singapore, right, I'll just have a meal with my parents, and my thought process was, I've already done my duty as a daughter.
I've
How
done
wrong
my
was
part,
I?
right? Okay.
How wrong was I? Because I realized that, you know, with each passing day, they get older and older, right? And then as said, when I came back, my husband and I came back in 2016, right, to Singapore to come back home, basically, because of our aging parents, right? I thought that, you know, I'm going to have like, say 5, 10, 15 years with my parents, but within 2 years, my mother passed away. Yeah. So it goes to show that you cannot tell whether like it's a kind of long-term planning kind of thing. However, as I said, you can't predict the future, but you can prepare for it kind of thing. So the suggestion is, now this is my personal suggestions, but it'll be up to, you know, couples to decide what is comfortable for them, right? Do you want to take out insurance for them? Do you want to put aside some money for them? And if you put aside some money for them, how much is too much? How much is too little? You have to decide kind of thing. Yes, we are not all earning $5,000-$6,000-$7,000 a month kind of thing, but it is still possible. It is still possible. So you have to decide between the two. You don't become a contentious issue. Understand that you too will become old one day, and your children will have to make the same decision as you do now.
Fair.
If not, it will be even tougher next time down the road because of the inflation, and so things are getting more and more expensive.
And a lot of problems, if they're not solved in this generation, they actually get passed down to the next generation.
Correct.
Right? And it snowballs generation to generation. At least that is what I feel.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so today's topic is talking about finance and everything, right? But I'll tell you something, in relationship is very complicated.
Yeah, I can tell. Like just this conversation with you, right? Wow, there's so many elements that I never thought of. You know, like managing, you know, finances, and then beyond that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
While it's complicated, we can try and simplify life.
You have some advice for us?
Yeah. So, okay, number one is this. When the two of you are together, just understand that why you come together in the first place. The values. Okay. Yeah. So what are your personal values? Okay. Now, so let's pinpoint to one element about your parents. Now, what is your values towards your parents? Your how are you going to looking? How are you looking after them? So where is the values in this respect, both for the boy and the girl? Okay. Now, if you're 17 years old, you say, well, it's really none of my business. Well, I'll tell you, creep out on you one day. Yeah. You better think about it now, right? But you don't need to activate it yet, like, if you don't want to, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, number two. Now, so I'm speaking to the younger generation. Am I about 20s?
Yeah, most of the audience, we are about 20 to 30s. They're about.
Yeah, correct. So make sure that the relationship also is values induced.
What does that mean?
Values good induced. Question. Yes. What does that mean? For example, if your values are superficial, like I have asked single people before, what do you look for in a relationship? And this is what I got. Oh, she must be beautiful. She must have a car. She must have a job. She must have university degree and everything. No. Because when all these are gone, what is left? Nothing left. Okay. The kind of values you must have for yourself first is this, for yourself, before you find people of that values, is my values are honesty. My values are being a kind person. You know, my values are, I am looking after my parents. I take care of my parents. My values are I love God. Let's say if you're a religious person. So these are your values, because after everything is gone, you still have them. And I promise you, right, if you're listening to this podcast, I promise you this, that when you have the values, right, you will actually identify the same values in other people.
So before you go out and search for your significant other, you must have this kind of conversation with yourself.
Correct.
Right? Yeah.
Correct. And so we talk about emotional thing, right? This is the same application, because what happened is that when you have these values, you suddenly can see the other person displaying the same kind of values. Let me give you an example. You talk about kindness. Okay, if my value is kindness, right, I will spot kindness almost instantaneously from people. For example, like pulling out a chair, clearing the table, throwing away the rubbish, saying thank you to the old man or old woman cleaning the tables. I actually can see that.
Because you actually care about
Correct.
it, right? So you observe it vividly.
Correct. Exactly.
That's interesting.
So this is the thing that you need to. And when things come into a kind of fog, right, or there are difficulties, you realize that the values actually help the both of you to be together.
So it will help because you have common value set.
Yes.
You know, no matter what storms you brave through, you know, it
Yes.
kind of guides you guys together.
Yes.
Well, that's cool. I never
Correct.
thought of it that way. Like
Yes.
to me, it was just like I want to find someone that has share my common values so that we're comfortable together.
Yeah.
You know, probably because we've not braved through storms yet.
Correct.
So.
But what is common values, you see?
Yeah,
So you need
yeah.
to identify those.
Okay.
So like my husband and I, we've been together for so long, we went through a financial difficulty. There was a time when, I'll tell you a little story, is that back in 1999, I lost my high paying job.
Wow.
And our income went from $10,000 a month to $2,500
Where were you guys back then?
in Perth.
Wow. Okay, in Australia.
Yes, and our mortgage is $1,500 every month. On top of our credit card bills that we know we're crazy. So we thought that we earn a lot of money, so we spent.
You racked up so much bills,
Yes.
right? Okay.
So virtually, it was so embarrassing that, you know, when we opened the fridge, there was nothing in there. And the joke was that we can sell the fridge as is. Just come and just grab it. It's nothing that true story. And so one of the most I would say the point of break for me and was my husband got two this movie tickets because he was the employee of the month, so they gave him two free tickets. It was a Lord of the Rings trilogy, and it was like, oh, okay. And we didn't go out of the house. We had no money because we don't even have. So let's put it this way: he brings home about $1,800 every month, and after paying everything off, we got negative $500. That means
every month you're losing, right?
Yeah. So virtually we got very creative with one roast chicken. We can eat one roast chicken for 6 days. I kid you not.
One roast chicken for 6 days?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was like
Make
we
it work, right?
Yeah, we do whatever it is. So coming back to the story, and then we went and said, oh, well, we haven't been out of the house for a while. It's nice to get out of the house, watch a movie. And then we ordered 2 hot dogs. Now, each hot dog is $1.50. So I opened up my wallet. I only had like $1. And then he had like something at $1. So we can actually afford to buy only 1 hot dog, basically. But the hot dog is very small, so you can't share with the two of us. And then after that, we said, okay, hold on, we'll place the order, right? And then we went to the car to dig out coins, see whether like the coins dropped. Couldn't find any. And then the ATM, right, has got $5 in our account. Joint account, okay, $5. Yeah, we never thought of savings or this thing, if you know what I'm saying. This is over the years. So far, you can't draw $5 out from ATM. So there's no such thing as nets and all sorts of things. So we can't pay all those either. That was 1999 back then when the technology wasn't
so
better.
vivid, this thing.
Yeah. So anyway, we had to sneak past the shop, and we could hear the girl calling out, two hot dogs, and then we just kind of like sheepishly just like pass it, went to the movie, hungry as can be, nothing to eat.
Wow.
And as I sat in the movie and like literally just cried because it come to this stage where like we had no money. But what comforted me was my husband held my hand and said, we will get through this. Whatever it is, we'll get through this. Now, what's my point? If my husband said, look at you spend all this money, you know, when we could have saved money, we could have looked back, kind of like just be historical, right? And say, look at us, we are in this situation because, you know, you being stupid with your money, you lost your job, you this, you that, because it becomes a blame game.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That relationship would not have lasted. But because he held my hand and said, we'll get through this. And I felt comforted and secure in my relationship to say, we will get through this. Best husband award. It's not say best, but this is why it's because when things get tough, right? When the going gets tough, right? The tough go shopping. Some people are like that.
Oh, retail therapy, right?
Yeah. And so it became worse, right? And so it's another topic for another day. I tell you, this is a lot of things to think about.
I think we will definitely get you back on the show another time.
So this is the thing that, you know, it's not to blame each other, but to say, okay, what can we do? So eventually, you know, thank the good Lord, we got out of financial because we end up selling the house.
Okay.
So it's one of the decisions we had to make, because if your debt hole is too big already, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not saying that this is the solution to it, but
yes.
I'm saying that A, if you can get a consolidated loan to help you pay off bits and pieces, do that.
Do it.
Okay. B, if you can't, then you have to sell something. Maybe put something on Carousel, whatever. You do whatever it takes kind of thing, because you have lots of things to sell, and I'm telling you that.
Yes, I managed to make about $500 to $1,000 selling things on Carousel. All the things in my wardrobe, this belt, this bag, everything, sell. Wow, this is no joke.
Exactly. And see if you are in a very big financial dire straits, right? For example, like in the hundreds and thousands or even $1 million kind of thing. I mean, selling things, can help you a little bit. But you might eventually have to make a decision to sell off large assets, start all over again. You might have to do that. But I don't hope that this will come to the point. The last thing you should not be doing is file bankruptcy. Because a lot of people say, well, I filed bankruptcy, then, what can I do? What can I have to file bankruptcy? I'm so deep already, right? Yes, it gives you a short-term solution, but it will give you long-term impact. Because in time to come, when you have to declare for certain things, right? You may want to apply for a job, or you want to apply for, this will
even
come back to bite. Even
registering a company, a lot of things.
This will come back to bite you in the bum.
Yeah.
And another thing is communicate. Now, the banks are not, sorry to say, they are not, they are not like loan sharks where they harass you.
Yes.
I personally worked in a bank for 12 years. Bank industry.
Okay.
So my last position was a branch manager. Right. So I will tell you that we prefer people to come to the bank and talk to us and say, look, we're in this situation right now. Is there any way that the bank can help us? Perhaps like freeze certain thing or fix certain interest. I don't know. You need to go and talk to the bank kind of thing. Rather than to keep quiet, don't pay your bills, throw it away, get all these things.
Ultimately, the bank is a business, and they want to make back however much money they can, right? So if you're already in a situation, I know many people that have negotiated a longer term, lower interest rate, waive late coming fee. The bank also want 赚钱, right? They don't want you to get into a problem, and it's not good on their books also.
So today's podcast, I can share with you only this little bit on the financial aspect of things. But on the whole, right, we actually deal with intrinsic problems and skill set. To help you build a relationship up, so that when you face major issues along life journey, right, you can hold each other's hand and say, we'll get through this.
We'll definitely have you back on the show, but before we end it today, do you have any interesting things coming up? You want to share with us some insights to what is happening for you in the next half a year or year?
Absolutely. So we're going on this platform now that that we give you a topic, and there'll be 5 verticals to it. Now, 5 verticals in a sense, not topic, but program. For example, we'll give you one topic, a relationship. Then we will put out the topic, and you all will discuss. So it becomes knowledge-based, number 1. Number 2 is application-based. So you apply it. Number 3 is your reporting-based. So you come back and tell us how you apply that knowledge, right? Number 4 is that how would you now help other people? So the help-based application is you do it yourself. The help base is help other people and say, well, I went out and opened the door, I became a leader. That's it.
Cool.
And number 5 is the coach base.
So where can we find this?
It's gonna come soon. So it's now in progress.
Okay, so we will find you on Facebook first.
Yeah, so Facebook, I write a lot of stories. So do feel free to like, comment, and ask questions, because we are not all knowledgeable. Neither are we not. We can help with certain subject matter expertise.
That's cool. So where can we find you on Facebook?
As in that you mean
what is it? Yes,
okay,
your Facebook
Marie,
ID.
WLANG.
Okay, cool. Thank you for your time, Marie. Appreciate you. See you around.
Thank you, Reggie. Thank you. Bye bye, everybody. Thanks for your time.